This is Adunni. At 28 years old, she had cleaned more toilets than she could count. Her hands were rough from bleach, her back ached from bending, but every night she dreamed of Lagos forever. Adunni pushed her cleaning cart through the shiny halls of Murtala Muhammed Airport. Rich people walked past her like she was invisible. They carried expensive bags and spoke on fancy phones about their trips to London and Dubai. One day, she whispered to herself, one day I will be on that plane too.
But her bank account had only 15,000 naira, not even enough for a bus ticket to Abuja.
She stopped at the VIP lounge bathroom. Inside, she found tissues scattered on the floor and water splashed on the mirrors. Rich people were messy too, she thought. As she mopped the floor, Adunni heard two women talking outside.
Girl, I'm so tired of Lagos. The traffic, the noise, the stress. I just want to japa and start fresh in Canada.
Adunni's heart jumped. Japa! That word meant everything to young Nigerians like her, to escape.
She finished cleaning and pushed her cart to the next bathroom. But as she entered, something caught her eye. A small black booklet lay on the sink counter. Adunni picked it up. It was a Nigerian passport.
She opened it and saw a beautiful woman's photo. The name read Blessing Okoro, age 24. The passport was fresh, valid for 10 years. Her hands shook. This passport belonged to someone who could afford to travel, someone who had choices, someone who could japa whenever she wanted. But what happened next would change everything.
Adunni stared at the passport like it was made of gold. Inside were visa stamps from America, Dubai, and the United Kingdom. This woman had seen the world while Adunni scrubs toilets. Quickly, she stuffed the passport into her cleaning apron and continued mopping. A security guard walked in, looked around and left. Adunni's heart pounded. She knew she should report the lost passport immediately. That was the right thing to do. But something dark whispered in her mind. What if you kept it? The voice said. What if you became Blessing Okoro for just one day? She shook her head. No, that's stealing. That's wrong. But her fingers touched the passport through her apron. It felt warm, like hope itself. After work, Adunni sat on the bus heading home to Mushin. The passport burned in her bag like a secret. Around her, tired workers dozed as the bus crawled through Lagos traffic. She pulled out her phone and searched Blessing Okoro on Instagram. The account had 2.3 million followers. Blessing posed in expensive clothes, ate at fancy restaurants, and traveled to beautiful places. Rich girl problems, Adunni muttered. She probably has 10 passports. But even as she said it, she knew it wasn't true. A passport was important to everyone. The bus reached her stop in Mushin. Adunni walked through the narrow streets to her small room. The smell of frying plantain mixed with exhaust fumes. Children played football in the dirt while their mothers sold pure water and ground nuts. This was her world. Poor, crowded, and forgotten, but that passport in her bag represented another world entirely. She climbed the stairs to her room and sat on her thin mattress. The passport lay on her table like a judgment. Return it or use it to escape. But she didn't know that Blessing Okoro was searching for her passport everywhere, crying and desperate. Blessing Okoro stood in her Lekki apartment, turning everything upside down. Designer bags scattered across her bed, jewelry boxes emptied on the floor, but no passport anywhere. Where is it? She screamed at her phone. Her manager, Tunde, listened to her panic on the other end. Tomorrow morning, she had a flight to attend a brand event in London. Without that passport, her career will suffer. Blessing was not just another pretty face on Instagram. She had built her brand from nothing. 3 years ago, she was selling clothes in Computer Village. Now, she earned millions from endorsement deals. But it all depended on her image. Rich, successful, always traveling. If she missed this London event, brands would think she was unreliable. Her contracts could disappear. Did you check your car? Tunde asked. Your gym bag? Your office?
I've checked everywhere. Blessing collapsed on her bed, surrounded by chaos. The only place I went today was the airport to pick up my friend. I used the VIP lounge bathroom.
Her heart stopped. The bathroom. She remembered placing her passport on the sink counter while she fixed her makeup. Then her phone rang. Her friend arrived and they left quickly.
Tunde, I think I left it at the airport in the VIP lounge bathroom. We need to go back now, he said, tonight.
They drove through Lagos night traffic to the airport. The security guards knew Blessing from her social media fame. They let her check the bathroom with a female officer present. Nothing. The bathroom was clean and empty. Her passport was gone. Blessing sat in the airport parking lot and cried. Not pretty Instagram tears, but deep, ugly sobs. Her whole life was falling apart over one small booklet. Someone took it, she whispered. Someone has my passport. Adunni couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Blessing's passport photos staring at her. The woman looked confident, successful, and free. Everything Adunni wanted to be. At 3 a.m., she turned on her phone flashlight and studied the passport carefully. Blessing was 24, Adunni was 28, but people often looked younger or older than their age. The height was close, the complexion matched. This is crazy, Adunni whispered to herself, but crazy ideas sometimes worked in Lagos. She had heard stories of people using fake documents to travel abroad. Some got caught, others started new lives. She Googled how to travel with someone else's passport. The internet was full of warnings about jail time and deportation, but it also had stories of people who succeeded. The next morning, Adunni went to work with the passport hidden in her bag. She cleaned bathrooms and emptied trash cans, but her mind was somewhere else. Every time she saw travelers heading to their gates, she imagined herself among them. During her lunch break, she sat in the staff canteen and called her sister in Ibadan. Kemi, if you had a chance to leave Nigeria forever, would you take it? What kind of question is that? Kemi laughed. Of course, but we are poor girls, Adunni. We don't have those kinds of chances. But what if you did? Are you feeling okay? Did someone hit your head with a mop? Adunni hung up. She couldn't tell anyone about the passport. They would either think she was crazy or demand she share it somehow. After work, she walked through Ikeja City Mall and window shopped at stores she could never afford. Rich people walked past her with shopping bags full of expensive things. They looked confident, entitled, and unburdened by poverty. I could be one of them, she thought, touching the passport in her bag. Just for one trip, just to see what freedom feels like. But what she didn't know was that using a stolen passport was just the beginning of her troubles. Adunni stood in front of the mirror in her small room, holding Blessing's passport photo next to her face. With the right makeup and hairstyle, they could pass for sisters, maybe even the same person. She had been researching for 3 days. Blessing Okoro had a British visa valid for 2 years. She was supposed to fly to London for a brand event. The ticket was probably already booked.
This is insane, Adunni said to her reflection. But insane was better than cleaning toilets forever. Insane was better than watching other people live the life she wanted.
She took a bus to Balogun Market and bought makeup, hair extensions, and clothes that looked expensive but cost little. Back home, she practiced walking differently. Rich people moved with confidence, like the world owed them something. The hardest part was learning to talk like Blessing. She watched hours of Blessing's Instagram videos, copying her accent and mannerisms. Hey guys, it's your girl Blessing, coming to you live from London, she practiced. On Friday evening, Adunni made her decision. She would go to the airport on Saturday and try to board Blessing's flight to London. If it worked, she would disappear forever. If it failed, she would go to prison. She wrote a letter to her sister. Kemi, by the time you read this, I will be far away. Don't look for me. Don't worry about me. I am chasing my dreams. Take care of yourself. Love, Adunni. That night, she couldn't eat. Her stomach was twisted with fear and excitement. She tried to sleep, but kept imagining different scenarios. Getting arrested at security, being questioned by immigration officers, sitting in a plane for the first time. At dawn, she woke up and transformed herself. Dark lipstick, straight hair extensions, a fitted dress, and confidence she didn't feel.
When she looked in the mirror, she saw a different person. "Hello, my name is Blessing Okoro," she practiced one more time.
She packed a small bag with basic items and hid her real ID card in her shoe, just in case everything went wrong. But as she headed for the door, her phone rang. The caller ID showed airport security.
Adunni's hand froze on the doorknob. Her phone kept ringing. How did airport security get her number? Did they somehow know about the passport? She let the call go to voicemail, her heart hammering against her ribs.
After 2 minutes, she played the message with shaking fingers. "Hello, this is Officer James from Airport Security. We found your number in our staff records. There's been a passport reported missing from the VIP lounge. If you found anything during your cleaning duties, please report it immediately. Thank you." Adunni sat down hard on her bed. They were asking all the cleaners. This was her chance to return the passport and forget this crazy plan. Be safe, be good, be poor forever.
But then she thought about Blessing crying in her Lekki apartment, surrounded by designer bags and luxury. Blessing would get another passport. She had money, connections, influence. She would survive this setback. Adunni had nothing to fall back on. This passport was her only ticket out of poverty. She turned off her phone and left her room. The streets of Mushin were already busy with morning traders and commuters. No one looked at her twice in her new outfit, but she felt exposed, like everyone could see her secret. At the bus stop, she waited for a taxi to take her to the airport. An old woman selling bread looked at her with curiosity. "You look different today, my daughter. Special occasion?" "Yes, ma, very special." Adunni's voice was steady, but her hands trembled as she paid for the taxi. The ride to the airport took forever. Lagos traffic moved like thick honey. Adunni watched the city pass by her window, maybe for the last time. Street hawkers, yellow buses, tall buildings, and millions of people all trying to survive another day. At the airport, she walked to the departure hall with her fake confidence. The building looked different when you are not pushing a mop bucket. Bigger, more intimidating. She approached the check-in counter for British Airways. The lady behind the desk smiled professionally. "Good morning. May I have your passport and booking reference?" This was it, the moment that would change everything. Adunni handed over Blessing's passport with his smile she had practiced in the mirror. Her fingers didn't shake, her voice stayed calm, but inside her heart was screaming. Blessing Okoro, the check-in lady, read from the passport. She looked at Adunni's face, then back at the photo. "Going to London for business or pleasure?" "Business," Adunni replied in Blessing's accent. "I have a brand event, Fashion Week preparation." She had memorized these details from Blessing's Instagram posts. The lady typed on her computer, seconds stretched like hours. Then she frowned. "I'm sorry, Miss Okoro, but I don't see your booking in our system. Are you sure you booked with British Airways?" Adunni's stomach dropped. She hadn't thought about the actual ticket. She assumed Blessing would have booked already. That's impossible. Let me check my phone." She pretended to scroll through emails, buying time to think. Around her, other passengers checked in smoothly. A security guard stood nearby, watching the crowd. "Maybe try under a different spelling," Adunni suggested. "Or perhaps my manager booked it under his name, Tunde Adebayo." The lady checked again. Her frown deepened. "No booking under that name either. Do you have your booking confirmation email?" Sweat gathered under Adunni's arms despite the air conditioning. She was trapped. No ticket meant no travel. But admitting she didn't have a ticket would raise questions about why she had a passport for a flight she hadn't booked. "You know what?" Adunni said, trying to sound casual. "Let me call my manager. Maybe there was a mix-up with the dates." She stepped away from the counter and pretended to make a phone call. But the check-in lady was already reaching for her phone. Adunni could see her lips moving. "Security, we might have a situation here." This was falling apart fast. Adunni had two choices, run now or try to bluff her way through. But running would definitely look suspicious. She walked back to the counter with her biggest smile. "My manager says the booking was changed to Emirates. Thank you so much for your help." She turned to leave, hoping to disappear into the crowd. But the security guard was already walking toward her. "Excuse me, miss," the security guard called out. His voice was friendly but firm. "Could you wait a moment, please?"
Adunni stopped walking. Every instinct told her to run, but her legs felt like concrete. The guard approached with the check-in lady beside him. "There seems to be some confusion about your booking," the lady said, "and my colleague at Emirates says they have no record of a Blessing Okoro on today's flights either." The guard studied Adunni's face carefully. "Miss, may I ask why you're trying to board a flight you haven't booked?" The airport noise seemed to fade away. Travelers walked past them, heading to their gates with legitimate tickets and real passports. Adunni felt small and obvious, like a spotlight was shining on her crime. She started, then stopped. The lies were getting too complicated. She wasn't good at being a criminal. "Ma'am, is this your real passport?" the guard asked gently. And suddenly, Adunni was tired of pretending, tired of being someone else, tired of carrying a secret that was burning a hole in her heart. "No," she whispered, "it's not mine." The guard nodded like he had expected this answer. "Whose passport is it? Whose passport is it?" "Blessing Okoro, the real Blessing Okoro. I found it in the VIP bathroom 3 days ago. I was supposed to return it, but I thought maybe Her voice broke. "I just wanted to travel, just once. I wanted to see what it felt like to be free." The check-in lady looked at her with something that might have been pity. The guard spoke into his radio. "We need someone from CID here. We have a passport situation." As they waited, Adunni thought about her sister Kemi, who would read the letter and worry. She thought about her small room in Mushin, which might be empty when she got back, if she got back. "Why didn't you just return it?" the guard asked. Adunni looked at him through tears she couldn't stop. "Because this passport represents everything I'll never have, and I was tired of cleaning other people's messes while they lived my dreams." But her confession was just the beginning of the real story. While Adunni sat in the airport security office, across town in Lekki, Blessing Okoro was having a breakdown. Her London event was starting in 4 hours. Her manager Tunde had called every contact they had at the airport, the embassy, and the police. "Maybe we should post about it on your Instagram," Tunde suggested. "Ask your followers to help find it." Blessing shook her head. 2 million people knowing I lost my passport, that would destroy my brand image. They'll think I'm careless and unprofessional. But inside, she was dying. Not just because of the missed opportunity. The passport contained something more valuable than money. Her grandfather's photo was tucked behind her visa pages. He had died when she was young, but that photo had traveled with her to every country. Her phone rang, unknown number. "Miss Okoro, this is Inspector Davis from Airport Police. We have your passport." Blessing nearly dropped the phone. "You found it? Thank God! Where was it?" "Ma'am, we need you to come to the airport immediately. There's been a situation." "What kind of situation?" "Someone tried to use your passport to board a flight. We have her in custody." The drive to the airport was the longest 45 minutes of Blessing's life. Someone had tried to steal her identity, use her documents, become her. At the airport, Inspector Davis led her to a small office where a young woman sat with her head down. When she looked up, Blessing was shocked. The woman looked tired, scared, and somehow familiar. "This is the person who had your passport," Davis said. Blessing studied the woman's face. She was pretty in a quiet way, but her eyes held a sadness that expensive makeup couldn't hide. "Why?" Blessing asked. "Why did you try to use my passport?" Adunni looked up at her victim for the first time. Blessing was smaller in person, not as perfect as her Instagram photos suggested. She looked young and worried, like any normal person would. "I'm sorry," Adunni said quietly. "I found it in the bathroom where I work. I clean toilets there every day. I see people like you traveling to amazing places, and She stopped, unable to explain the desperate hunger that had driven her to this moment. Blessing sat down across from her. For some reason, she wasn't angry. She was curious. "What's your name?" Blessing asked softly. The inspector looked surprised. Usually, victims wanted justice, not conversation. "Adunni Okafo," came the quiet reply. "Adunni, why didn't you just return my passport when you found it?" Adunni looked up, meeting Blessing's eyes directly for the first time. Because you have everything I've ever wanted, and I had nothing to lose.
Blessing felt something twist in her chest. This woman saw her life as perfect, enviable, complete. But Blessing knew the truth. The loneliness, the pressure, the constant fear that her success would disappear. "Tell me about your life," Blessing said, ignoring the inspector's impatient cough.
So Adunni talked about cleaning toilets while people ignored her existence, about dreaming of travel while counting naira coins, about watching other people live freely while she was trapped by poverty. "I've worked at that airport for 3 years, Adunni said. "I've cleaned up after thousands of travelers, rich people, poor people, everyone in between. But I never once walked through those departure gates as a passenger."
Blessing listened and remembered her own story. 3 years ago, she was selling clothes in a tiny shop, dreaming of becoming somebody important. Social media had given her a platform, but the pressure was crushing. "You think my life is perfect," Blessing said.
"But I haven't slept properly in months. I work 7 days a week. I can't eat in public without people taking photos. I can't make mistakes because my entire career depends on looking successful."
Adunni looked confused. "But you travel everywhere. You have beautiful clothes. People love you." "People love my image. They don't know me." Blessing touched her bag where her grandfather's photo waited in the returned passport. "This passport is not just for travel. My grandfather's picture is in it. He's been gone for 12 years, but I carry him with me everywhere." The inspector checked his watch. "Ladies, we need to complete the paperwork. Miss Okoro, do you want to press charges?" Blessing looked at Adunni, who was staring at the floor again. An idea was forming in her mind. Crazy, maybe, but not impossible. "No," Blessing said firmly, "I don't want to press charges."
Inspector Davis looked confused. "Ma'am, this woman attempted to commit passport fraud. She could have used your identity for anything. But she didn't. She just wanted to travel." Blessing turned to Adunni. "Right? You weren't planning to steal money or commit other crimes?" Adunni shook her head quickly. "I just wanted to see London. Maybe find work there. Start over somewhere nobody knew I was a toilet cleaner." Blessing made a decision that surprised everyone in the room, including herself. "What if I could help you travel legally?" "What?" Adunni's head snapped up. "I need someone I can trust, someone who understands what it's like to start with nothing." Blessing pulled out her phone and showed Adunni her Instagram page. "I get brand deals in different countries, events, photo shoots, collaborations, but I need help managing everything." "I don't understand," Adunni said. "I'm offering you a job as my personal assistant. You'll travel with me, help coordinate my schedule, manage my content. It pays well enough for you to get your own passport and build your own future." The inspector frowned. "Miss Okoro, are you sure about this? This woman just tried to steal your identity." "She tried to steal my identity because she was desperate for opportunities. Instead of punishing desperation, maybe I should provide opportunity." Blessing looked at Adunni seriously. "But this offer comes with conditions." Adunni's eyes were wide. "What conditions?" "First, you have to be completely honest with me. No more lies, no more trying to be someone else. Second, you work hard and learn fast. Third, you help me remember that behind all the Instagram photos, we're both just Nigerian girls trying to make something of our lives." Adunni started crying. Not sad tears, but overwhelmed tears. "Why would you help me? I tried to steal from you." "Because 3 years ago I was desperate too. Someone gave me a chance when I didn't deserve it. Maybe it's time I pass that gift forward." Inspector Davis shook his head but began putting away his paperwork. "If you don't want to press charges, Miss Okoro, then Miss Okafor is free to go." But this wasn't the end of their story. It was just the beginning. 6 months later, Adunni stood in the departure lounge of Murtala Mohammed Airport, but this time everything was different. She held her own brand new passport with her own name. Her boarding pass showed London Heathrow as the destination. Beside her, Blessing scrolled through emails on her phone. "The hotel confirmation is in your folder. The brand meeting is at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Did you remember to pack the jewelry for the shoot?" "Yes, ma'am.
Everything is organized in the blue bag. Adunni still couldn't believe this was her life now. 6 months ago, she was mopping these same floors. Today, she was flying to London as Blessing's business manager. The job had been harder than she expected, learning about contracts, managing schedules, dealing with difficult clients. But Blessing had been patient, teaching her everything about the entertainment business. More importantly, they had become friends, real friends, not just employer and employee.
You know, Blessing said as they walked toward their gate, I never thanked you properly. Thanked me for trying to steal your passport? For reminding me why I started this journey. I was so focused on looking successful that I forgot what success actually means. Blessing smiled. Success means having enough to lift others up with you.
As they boarded the plane, Adunni thought about her sister Kemi, who was now studying computer science with money from Adunni's new salary. She thought about her old co-workers at the airport, still cleaning bathrooms and dreaming of escape. The flight attendant checked their boarding passes. Welcome aboard, Miss Okoro and Miss Okafor. Enjoy your flight to London.
Adunni settled into her seat and looked out the window at Lagos below. The city that had once trapped her was now just the starting point of her adventures. Are you nervous? Blessing asked. No, Adunni said, and she meant it. I'm ready.
As the plane lifted off, Adunni thought about the passport that had changed everything. Not because she had stolen it, but because losing it had brought two unlikely people together. Sometimes the last bus to Japa wasn't a bus at all. Sometimes it was a friendship that opened doors you never knew existed.